When a world war breaks out between the East and the West, what disaster will the world face? In the future world, artificial intelligence rises remarkably. The West, in order to destroy the robot bases of New Asia, has expended enormous resources to research and develop a space weapon with incredible power. The story takes place in the year 2065. At this time, artificial intelligence technology has reached its peak. AI robots can not only produce their own bodies and mechanics, but also create a biological skin layer using entirely new technology, making it difficult to distinguish from human skin. Then, a groundbreaking invention shocked the world. After a person dies, their memories can be extracted, stored on a memory card, and implanted into a robot's brain, creating robots known as simulants. This allows them to not only have the appearance of humans, but also human emotions. Along with the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, simulants began to integrate into every aspect of human life. However, the peaceful life suddenly came to an end one day. It was the day a nuclear explosion occurred in the sky over Los Angeles, USA, causing millions of people to evaporate from the Earth's surface in an instant. The US government, after extensive investigation, discovered that the culprits were the simulant robots living alongside humans. Since then, the balance between humans and simulants has been disrupted. The Western world quickly issued an order to exterminate all simulants and carried out brutal massacres. But the nations of New Asia had a different perspective. In their eyes, simulants had become friends and family. This significant difference in viewpoint has intensified the conflict between the two sides over the issue of simulants. In a press conference, the US military strongly declared that any robot poses a threat to global security, even if they hide deep in New Asia, and the US military will pursue and eliminate them. They also emphasized that this is not a war between nations, but a survival battle between humanity and AI. The actions of the US military are only targeted at simulants, not the people of New Asia. Subsequently, a special forces team was dispatched to New Asia to carry out the mission of capturing simulants. And their most important weapon is a spacecraft called Nomad. Nomad is considered the trump card weapon of the US military, none capable of providing comprehensive protection for soldiers, while also being able to accurately attack any target. And on this coast, an American named Tyler is living a peaceful life alongside Maya, his pregnant wife. They have formed a deep friendship with the local simulants. But the good times didn't last. A group of simulants captured an American soldier and brought him before Tyler. This meant that their location had been exposed, and the traitor was Tyler. It turned out that Tyler was an undercover agent sent by the US. Everyone was quickly surrounded. Tyler tried to persuade his wife to escape to the US with him, but Maya was determined not to leave. She had come to see the simulants here as her family. Upon learning Tyler's true identity, Maya was extremely disappointed and angrily pointed a gun at him. Tyler explained that the simulant was not a real human, but the child in Maya's womb was the true life. However, Maya completely ignored what he said. Then she turned away, wanting to go and save more unfortunate lives. As Tyler chased after her, he was stopped by several American soldiers. When Tyler struggled free and ran to the beach, Nomad had already locked onto the target. After a loud explosion, the missile fell and the boat was immediately turned to ashes. 5 years passed since Maya left, and Tyler lived in misery. He frequently went to the hospital for psychological treatment. Now Tyler is involved in a special job, which is to completely destroy the captured robots. The war against these AI robots has lasted over a decade in the Western world. Finally, with the successful creation of the trillion-dollar space weapon Nomad, the Western side achieved victory. But what few people know is that Nomad, with its immense power, is essentially also an artificial intelligence. It's just that the US government has always kept this a secret. However, the peaceful days did not last long, and Tyler was sought out by the military again. General Andrews, with a serious expression, revealed an important piece of information to him. Through the rigorous investigation by agents, it was discovered that in a certain country in New Asia, there is a secret base. The genius robot creator Nimata has succeeded in researching and developing a new generation of robots called Alpha. It is designed to destroy Nomad, the weapon that the West has always been proud of. The military decided to send an elite action team to destroy this laboratory. And Tyler, who had previously carried out an undercover mission in that area, is familiar with the layout of the laboratory. This inherent advantage makes the military consider him a key figure in the mission. However, the accident 5 years ago caused Tyler to lose his wife and unborn child. Now he has no interest in saving all of humanity. But the military seems to have been prepared in advance. Colonel Howell immediately played a video. In the video, Maya's image unexpectedly appeared. She was acting alongside the simulated robot army. Tyler's first reaction was disbelief, thinking that this might be another trick by the military. But Howell solemnly confirmed that this video was recorded 2 weeks ago and assured that if Tyler helped destroy the Alpha superweapon, in return, the military would definitely arrange for him to meet Maya again. This extremely enticing condition made it difficult for Tyler to refuse. With all preparations complete, the assault team boarded the most advanced transport aircraft and headed towards the target in the New Asia region. During the flight, Colonel Howell, with a worried expression, reminded the entire team that once they set foot on the ground, they must remain highly vigilant, because actions taken many years ago have caused the people of the New Asia region to deeply resent those from the Western world. And the core mission for everyone is to locate the Alpha superweapon, after which Nomad will launch a missile to destroy it. The Special Forces team successfully landed with the support of Nomad. They were well equipped and began the encirclement operation. When the Special Forces team arrived at the expected target location, it was far from what everyone had imagined. There was no laboratory with modern equipment, nor were there any simulated guards detected. Instead, it resembled a peaceful village. It turned out that over the past 5 years, this place had become a new village, surrounded by vast fields. After storming into the village, the villagers, unable to resist, surrendered helplessly. The Special Forces team members quickly gathered the villagers. Captain John demanded more information about the entrance to the laboratory. Faced with the threat, the villagers remained silent, not uttering a single word. Seeing this situation, John came up with a plan. He suddenly grabbed the little girl's pet dog to threaten her into speaking. Terrified, the little girl cried and pointed towards the altar with her hand. Seeing this, Tyler immediately turned the wooden wall on the altar, and the ground opened up a secret door. The Special Forces team followed the entrance down below, where the underground space was vast and extremely sturdy, capable of withstanding missile attacks. Before long, they had reached the central area. They attacked, eliminating everyone in the base. But after a while of searching, they still did not find any trace of Alpha. Then, everyone hurriedly rushed into the next level. Tyler saw the brutal actions of the Special Forces team and felt extremely uncomfortable. At the same time, the village's simulated Special Forces received the alert and quickly came to the rescue. Female team member Bradbury, in charge of ground support, was well aware of the urgency of the mission. To ensure the Special Forces could find Alpha, she did not hesitate to press the missile control button. The Special Forces found a room tightly sealed. John was certain Alpha was inside, and immediately ordered the team members to start breaking the door lock. At this time, more simulated Special Forces from all over were converging on the village. Bradbury found herself in an isolated and dangerous situation. In the urgent situation, John reluctantly had to leave Tyler behind to wait for the door to open, while he led the other members quickly to the surface to provide assistance. Before leaving, John solemnly warned Tyler that he must not enter on his own until John returned. However, as soon as John was out of sight, the lock was successfully opened. The underground door slowly opened. Unable to contain his curiosity, Tyler completely ignored John's instructions and stepped into the room. He only saw a small sofa and a TV playing cartoons on the opposite side. He hesitated, slowly walked over, and was astonished to discover a little girl sitting on the sofa. Upon closer inspection, he realized that this was a simulated girl. Who could have imagined that the super weapon feared by the US military was a robot child who loved watching cartoons? This little girl had expressions like a real person. Suddenly, a researcher came in. Tyler asked about Maya's whereabouts when they pulled a gun and ambushed him. Then she anxiously urged the little girl to go find her mother. Tyler's mind went blank for a moment, unable to do anything but watch the little girl stagger outside. This was the first time the little girl had come into contact with the outside world. At this moment, a brutal massacre was taking place on the ground. Not long after, Tyler struggled to crawl out from underground, but at this point, there was only a brief minute left before Nomad launched a missile attack. With time running out, John hurriedly gathered the team members to prepare for retreat. After Bradbury ran towards the spaceship, a deadly bomb hit her. However, the scene was chaotic, and none of the members noticed this. As the spaceship slowly took off, urgent, rapid beeping sounds suddenly rang out, alerting everyone. But it was all too late. A loud explosion echoed, and the spaceship burst into flames, trailing a thick black smoke as it plummeted to the ground. At that moment, a missile from Nomad shot down, aiming directly at another entrance of the base. After the explosion, a massive shockwave leveled the ground within a few miles. Tyler, having not boarded the spaceship in time, was lucky to escape death. However, the powerful shockwave rendered him unconscious. The next day, Tyler woke up to find himself on a small boat. He looked into the distance and saw Alpha standing not far away, as if intentionally waiting for him to wake up. The two rested for a while and then set off together. Not far into their journey, Tyler saw a heavily injured soldier in the field ahead, but before they could do anything, they were surrounded by simulated police. With no other choice, Tyler could only rush the injured soldier into a nearby small house. As soon as they entered the house, the TV in the room suddenly turned on. It turned out that Alpha had followed them in without them noticing. To avoid attracting the attention of the robot police, Tyler quickly stepped forward to unplug the TV. At that moment, Colonel Howell managed to contact Tyler through the locator device on the injured soldier. Tyler told Howell that the Alpha the military was desperately searching for was actually a little girl. Howell was skeptical, but ultimately ordered Alpha to be killed. However, before he could finish speaking, Howell was captured alive by the robot police. Looking at the innocent and naive little girl Alpha, Tyler truly couldn't bring himself to do it. But when he saw the drawing the little girl had made, he was immediately stunned. The drawing was exactly like the tattoo on his wife's body. Tyler was about to ask Alpha about the tattoo when an elderly humanoid suddenly appeared with a gun. The old man became extremely agitated upon seeing the little girl. He knew well that their leader, Nimata, had succeeded. The little girl before them was their hope. Fortunately, Tyler had previously activated the language translation device and learned that the old man intended to kill him. In a split-second decision, Tyler acted first and shot through the old man. Otherwise, the one lying down might have been him. He quickly took out the photo he carried and asked Alpha about his wife. Despite the language barrier, Alpha seemed to understand Tyler's intent. However, before they could exchange a few words, a large number of robot police were drawn to the sound of the gunshot. With the situation critical, Tyler could only quickly get the injured soldier into the vehicle. Escaping was the top priority. Immediately after, the police threw a grenade into the house. The grenade was thrown back by the old man's small dog. This action left the robot police outside, astonished. When the little girl clasped her hands together, the old electric car started and accelerated. Tyler didn't dare to be careless for a second. He stepped on the gas and rushed out, and the three of them began to flee. On the other side, Colonel Howell and his subordinate were being escorted into a police car. However, while being escorted, the two seized a moment of distraction from the robot police, acted swiftly, dealt with the police, and escaped. At the same time, Tyler and Alpha, having just successfully escaped, are facing a difficult situation. Throughout the escape, Alpha, thanks to a translation device, has learned to speak broken English. But unfortunately, the car broke down in the middle of the road. The soldier accompanying them passed away from severe injuries and lack of timely care. As they were falling into despair, a truck drove by. Tyler, like grabbing a lifeline, hurriedly rushed out to stop the truck, asking for a ride back to the city. To avoid drawing attention to Alpha, Tyler found a hat to put on Alpha's head and gave her the name Alfie. As for Howell, after escaping, she quickly used a tracking device to locate the place where the truck broke down. But before her eyes was only her teammate who had already passed away. She and her team immediately used consciousness transfer technology. They tried to restore the consciousness of the deceased teammate. However, because too much time had passed since the teammate's death, the memory storage time was extremely brief. Howell was able to gather very little information. At the same time, Asian countries issued a manhunt for Tyler and Alfie. When the two passed through a checkpoint, Alfie used her remote control ability. In the blink of an eye, she cut the power to the checkpoint, skillfully helping them get through. Afterwards, they boarded a bus intending to find Tyler's friend Drew, hoping to decode the secret within Alfie. Very quickly, the human and the simulant arrived at Drew's robot factory. Drew was extremely surprised when he saw Alfie. After a thorough examination, he discovered that Alfie was completely different from other simulants. An internal component was in a locked state, which only the creator could unlock. Drew believed that Alfie was the most advanced simulant he had ever seen. He explained to Tyler that Alfie's emotions and intelligence could not only develop like a human's, but were also set with a supreme goal of remotely controlling all technical devices from any location, including even the Nomad superweapon. After that, Drew asked his simulant wife to take Alfie upstairs to rest. Tyler looked at the scene of simulant robots and humans living harmoniously together in the factory. Lost in thought, he began to doubt whether the nuclear explosion in the past was really caused by the simulants. At this moment, Drew's wife brought up the ice cream she had ordered for Alfie. As she opened the food container, a grenade rolled out. The simulant special forces immediately stormed into the house. They saw Alfie watching TV and approached her, inviting her to leave with them, promising to protect her from the Americans. However, Alfie paid no attention, forcing the special forces to reluctantly draw a stun gun, preparing to knock her out. Just as the officer was about to pull the trigger, Tyler appeared. With a few punches and kicks, he beat the simulant special forces. Tyler saw Drew in distress, holding his implicated simulant wife. A difficult-to-describe sadness also welled up inside him. He realized that when simulants have emotions like humans, their lives are just as valuable. Only their form of existence is different. But the current situation was very urgent, with more and more simulant special forces arriving at the scene. With Drew's help, Tyler found the place where Maya once lived. Unfortunately, the place had been destroyed and turned into a pile of rubble. He only found the ring that Maya used to wear. While Tyler was immersed in painful memories, Drew urgently urged him to leave quickly. Unfortunately, Drew was shot. Drew knew he didn't have much time left, and before dying he revealed a secret he had kept hidden in his heart. Western leaders had long known that Maya was Nimata, the leader of the simulants in New Asia. They sent Tyler as a spy to gather information about Maya's location, and Tyler's survival in the attack back then was purely due to luck. Drew's words were like a heavy blow to Tyler's heart. He didn't expect that he was just being used. However, Tyler didn't have much time to think, hurriedly picking up Alfie to prepare to flee. But by then, they were already surrounded by many simulants outside. They escorted the two onto a boat. What surprised Tyler was that the one capturing him was Harun, his old comrade. He was the one who discovered the American soldier and brought him before Tyler. Moreover, Harun had long known Tyler's true identity. In his eyes, Tyler was nothing more than a traitor. Harun would never forgive a traitor even if it was a former comrade. Before executing Tyler, Harun revealed the truth about the nuclear explosion years ago, which was actually caused by a human programming error, leading to the explosion in Los Angeles. The Western leadership, to evade responsibility, blamed the simulators. Just as Harun was about to pull the trigger, Nomad appeared in the air, destroying the base Harun was about to return to. Tyler took the opportunity to jump into the sea and hide under a boat to escape. Harun returned to the base, where everyone was making every effort to treat those injured in Nomad's attack. Here, between the simulants and humans, there is no distinction of rank. They help each other equally. Harun clearly understands the purpose of creating Alfie. He hopes that Alfie can grow up safely within the base. That night, Tyler quietly sneaked into the base and found Alfie sleeping in Harun's arms. Tyler decisively switched off Harun, picked up Alfie, and prepared to leave. As soon as he stepped out of the room, the alarm in the base suddenly blared. It turned out that the Western Army was attacking the New Asia base once again. The alarm sounded urgently, waking Harun from his sleep. Realizing the critical situation, he immediately gathered the team, preparing to defend at all costs. At that moment, two gigantic war machines slowly entered the base. The Western Army, relying on their superior firepower, launched a frenzied massacre at the base. They showed no mercy, fiercely attacking any moving object. The simulated warriors, seeing the innocent villagers whose lives were threatened, were determined to protect and evacuate the villagers first. Alfie witnessed the massacre of the villagers, and the sense of justice within him completely erupted, determined to join the ranks to help the villagers. The simulated warriors stood in front of the villagers, forming a solid defensive line. Facing the barrage of bullets from the Western Army, they did not flinch, using their bodies to shield the people behind them. On the other side, Hawk was watching the battlefield from the shadows. Seeing the opportunity had come, she ordered the self-destructing robots to charge in and break the defense. A strange, barrel-shaped machine was released, rushing towards Harun and the others. Seeing this, the villagers immediately picked up weapons to fight back. However, the bullets fired at the machine did not leave a scratch. Unable to penetrate its solid shell, Harun was burning with anxiety but could only watch helplessly as the machine charged straight into the base. Hawk immediately dispatched a second machine. When the second machine reached the middle of the bridge, it suddenly stopped. Upon closer inspection, everyone saw that Alfie was standing opposite it. Hawk noticed the unusual situation and immediately ordered John to advance and eliminate Alfie. However, what happened next took everyone by surprise. The robot knelt down as if submitting to Alfie. Just as everyone was still in shock, a cold shot suddenly rang out. Alfie was hit and fell down. When Tyler arrived in time, he hurriedly moved forward to examine Alfie's wound, then turned and shot John in the head, rendering him immediately incapacitated. But the opponent did not give up, and raised the gun again, aiming at Alfie. Reluctantly, John could only fire a shot to kill John. At this moment, the self-destructing robot had escaped Alfie's control, and began the countdown again. Harun knew that to restore Alfie to his original state, they had to immediately find Nimata. For Alfie's sake, Harun ignored the base being attacked and along with Tyler jumped onto a small boat, hurrying towards their target. On the way, Harun revealed a secret he had kept buried in his heart. With a heavy expression, he told Tyler that the girl Alfie in front of them was secretly completed by Maya using the stem cells of her own child. Alfie is a replica of their child, and Tyler is also the father of the baby. Upon hearing this, Tyler was overwhelmed. They reached their target, and an ancient and mysterious temple appeared. Inside the temple were all monks who were simulations. Tyler saw the wife he had longed for day and night. Maya lay on the hospital bed. Since the explosion years ago, she had remained unconscious, relying on machines to sustain her fragile life. At the same time, she had also lost a child with Tyler. The monk, with a sorrowful expression, told Tyler that instead of letting Maya suffer by maintaining her current state, it would be better to let her start anew. After hearing this, Tyler was extremely shocked and hurriedly asked, "Why haven't you done that yet?" The monk sighed helplessly and said, "As simulators, how could we do that to Maya?" It was then that Tyler realized all these disputes were intentionally created by Western forces. How could such benevolent simulators bomb Los Angeles? Taylor felt regretful as he held Alfie, torn inside, but ultimately gritted his teeth and cut off the power sustaining Maya's life. Howell reached them. Many aircraft surrounded. Howell ordered the American team to attack. Taylor carried Alfie, but Howell blocked him. It turned out her real target had always been Maya. At this point, Howell no longer hid her intentions. She bluntly stated that she wanted to extract secrets about Alfie from Maya's brain. Just as Howell was feeling triumphant, Harun swiftly fired a delayed explosion bullet at her. After a loud explosion, Howell was immediately blown to pieces. Harun was also severely injured. With his last bit of strength, he told Taylor that he must take Alfie to the Nomad and destroy it. Taylor now understood everything clearly, and even without Harun's request, he was determined to do so. Taylor took the consciousness storage card of Maya with him and hurriedly carried Alfie away. But the ground had been completely occupied by the American military. Taylor and Alfie were quickly captured and taken onto different aircraft. After completing the mission, the aircraft sequentially flew back to the American base, and then Nomad launched the missile. In an instant, it leveled the place. Currently, Taylor and Alfie were taken to a Western experimental base. Andrews wanted to dismantle Alfie to uncover the secrets hidden within her. But Alfie possesses a special ability to control all electronic devices, preventing any device from approaching her. Reluctantly, Andrews could only turn to Taylor, forcing him to kill Alfie and end her life. Taylor, filled with sorrow, outwardly could only comply, but in reality he only met Alfie's gaze. Next, the US military escorted Alfie to be destroyed. On the way, Alfie woke up and, relying on her powerful abilities, controlled all the devices, and successfully escaped with Taylor from the pursuit of the US military. After that, Taylor and Alfie boarded a lunar colony landing spacecraft. Alfie clasped her hands, using her superpowers to gain control of the Nomad 666. When Andrews discovered the actions of the two, he was extremely angry and immediately ordered the launch of all missiles to destroy all bases in New Asia with simulants. Meanwhile, the two boarded the Nomad and began to act separately. Alfie tried her best to find the control room and disable the Nomad. Taylor raced against time to plant explosives on the Nomad. Moments later, one missile after another was launched. The missiles left the Nomad like shooting stars, swiftly heading towards the bases in New Asia. Taylor had just climbed up when a missile was about to be launched. Fortunately, Alfie found the control room and managed to shut down the Nomad in time. Taylor quickly finished setting up the bomb and hurriedly told Alfie to return to the escape pod immediately. On the way back, Alfie saw a simulant with a face resembling her mother lying unconscious in the storage room. Feeling compassion, Alfie pulled her out of the storage room. Then she inserted the consciousness card into the back of her neck. At this moment, the first missile had already been launched to the designated attack point. However, Alfie's hopes were dashed. The simulant still did not successfully wake up. According to the plan, Alfie hurried back to board the escape ship. Suddenly, a mechanical arm reached out and grabbed Alfie. Taylor quickly closed the escape ship's door, severing the mechanical arm and trapping it outside. After that, the mechanical arm turned to attack Taylor. Alfie quickly clasped her hands together again, using her superpowers to render the mechanical arm incapable of action. After dealing with the mechanical arm, the escape ship's door suddenly got stuck. No matter how hard Taylor and Alfie tried, the door wouldn't open. At this critical moment, the bomb that Taylor had planted earlier exploded. The missiles, having lost control from Nomad, all fell to the ground like scrap metal. Seeing that Nomad was about to disintegrate, Taylor was forced to make a final decision. He knew that he couldn't let Alfie be harmed, not even for a minute, because at this moment in his heart, Alfie was his own child. After the escape pod detached, Nomad also exploded violently. Taylor aimlessly walked on the collapsing Nomad ship, his heart full of regret. Suddenly, he seemed to see a familiar figure. It turned out to be Maya, the wife he had longed for all this time. Taylor couldn't believe his eyes. He rushed forward. The two embraced each other tightly. In that moment, time seemed to stop, along with an earth-shattering explosion. Nomad completely vanished in a sea of flames. The 10-year-long war finally reached victory at this moment. The film ends here. The film, released in 2023, depicts a future where humans and AI are at war. Unlike traditional adventure works, the film focuses on portraying the protagonist's inner struggle and emotions towards the simulant. In summary, this is a deep science fiction work with highlights, serving as a warning for the present. Those who are interested in this genre can watch the original film, The Creator. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next exciting videos.